What if I told you that you could buy a 40-foot twin diesel Sunseeker for under £100,000? Well, I've got one for you today. Look at this. This is a genuine 40-foot Sunseeker sports cruiser, and it's less than £100,000. And you're thinking, how is that possible? Well, it's because this is a 1997 boat. You wouldn't think it to look at it, but it is. And it just goes to show what a huge amount of boat you can buy if you don't mind going back a bit in age. Now, the interesting thing with this one is it's been repainted from here down in the black, so that's professionally painted. As you can see, it's got the black canopies as well, and that's really sharpened it up. But they were a great shape back in the day. You can see the stainless steel windscreen sweeping around. You can see the forward sloping arch. We'll look at that in a minute. And some nice details as well. Like, look at the way they've got these stainless steel fillets on here so that these warps don't rub on the paint. It takes it over them. Let's go and take a look on board. But what I'll do is I'll take you right around and show you the outside first of all. This is a smart boat. Love these engine vents down here. Love the Sunseeker logo on the side down there, which of course they still do. Now, what you find with an older boat is things like they don't have the extended platform they get on modern boats. You know, things have moved on a bit. However, it's got to be said, that's still a great looking boat, isn't it? Let's come right around here, take it all in. Check that out. Let's go and have a look on board, and I will give you the full tour. Now, if you wanted to put a tender on here, what you would do is perhaps put snap davits on it, or you could even fit davits that go onto these. These are what these are for. So these would come up and out, and you could have a tender that would come up there. But a lot of people with this sort of boat either just don't bother with a tender, or they'll have an inflatable that they can roll up. This one here is for fenders, so they can drop into there for a bit of storage. We've got a shower on the back there as well. It's got the camper canopies on, so these canopies come right back with this framework and down. So this area becomes an area that you can use with the canopies up when the weather's not so good or at night. But of course, all of this that you can see that is black will come off. So you can take the sides out and leave the top up as a sun top, a bimini, or take everything off, and you can see the white is the radar arch that comes around like this, and everything else comes off to make this a completely open area. We've got, as you can see, the seating area back here where Maggie is taking it easy. There's a height adjustable table there, so that will drop down, and then a little wet bar over here. So this will, of course, fold away if you want it to. That drops down, and then that closes over the top of it like that. That one there is for bottles. Oh, let's try that again. There we go. And then there's also a little bit of storage underneath for cleaning gear or whatever else you want to keep in there. And then if we come on further forward from here, look at this beautiful sweep of stainless steel windscreen around here. That's gorgeous, isn't it? They don't make them like they used to. I think that's really, really nice. Over here, there's a raised area. This is really nice because you've got the helm here, and then people can sit here when you're underway, and you're at the same sort of height. You've got a great view out. But what this also does, and you'll see this when we go inside, is give you headroom back into the mid cabin back here. So that's kind of like a dual purpose area in many ways. Over here then, there's a couple of things that have been upgraded. It's got a recent Raymarine hybrid touch multifunction display there. This, I suspect, would have originally been like a sort of a walnut, a burr walnut finish. That's been done with a carbon fibre look, and you can see it down here as well. Might be original, but I don't think so. There's an autopilot on this one. That lives underneath there. Again, that's a more recent one. That's not original to the boat. Trim tabs are on here as well. Another nice thing, when you get boats of this age, normally you have the clunky cable controls. So the engine controls are then linked through cables back to the engines, whereas modern boats have electronic controls. This one's been fitted with electronic controls, so these are the modern style, dead easy, lightweight controls. Very nice indeed. And there is a bow and a stern thruster on here as well, and I'm intrigued to see this, a joystick. I suspect that's linking these up for joystick control. I'm not absolutely sure, but I'm guessing that's what that does. And this one here is a remote control for the thrusters, so when you're untying the boat or whatever, you can use the thrusters as you walk around it. New steering wheel on there as well. That wouldn't have been original. And then the VHF, again, it's a newer Raymarine VHF radio down there. You can see the speaker for it here. So some subtle upgrades there. And the upholstery, I don't know if the upholstery is original or not, but it looks in pretty good shape. So there's every chance that's been upgraded at some stage. But that's a nice space, isn't it? Stereo speakers in the radar arch. We've got lighting up here as well. And in fact, I saw some low-level lighting. Yeah, there we go. Dotted around down here. And in fact, I also saw it's been fitted with underwater lights, which is nice. And then down here takes us down to the accommodation. So this is a door, of course, that slides across, which is clipped back at the moment. Oh, I see, there's a little clip for it down there. And in we go. I'll take my shoes off. And this is your classic sports cruiser of this era layout, but it's also classic Sunseeker of this era finish. So we've got the cream leather, we've got the high gloss walnut. It is of the era, but I actually think that looks really nice. I love these thick cappings that they put in places like this. You can see it around here as well, and up here. That is a quality job. And the interesting thing about this is the same quality of woodwork and finish they're putting into their really big boats of the era. They're sort of £1 million, you know, super yacht style boats. So it is quite special. Now what you could do with this, of course, is give it to our friends at SeaTag, and they could put panels on here, like upholstered panels. I've seen them do that, and it just breaks up the wood a little bit. So if you wanted it a bit less woody, you could do, but I don't think that's bad. We've got the height adjustable table again over there. That expands. You can see these leaves drop over to give you a bit more, hang on, there we go, a bit more dining space. That little tubular fellow is a heater, because it's the winter at the minute. They only leaves a little heater on just to keep a bit of warmth in here, which is a good idea. There's a fridge over here, thusly. And if I spin right on round, that's through to the mid cabin. We'll take a look at that in a minute. And then this is the galley area. What's nice is it's concealed, so it's like a sideboard, but then underneath here, you can open these up. Like so, a little gas strut on there. Sink. Electric cooking, and there is a microwave tucked away somewhere. Under here, I think. That slides away. Like so, there's a generator on this one as well, so it'll run off shore power, but if you're not plugged into shore power, if you're at anchor, you can fire up the generator, and that will all still work. There we go. Let's put that back as we found it. And then this, of course, is all storage in places like this and along here, all nicely compartmentalized. So this is for your crockery up here, little holders for those to drop into, and so forth. And that one there's for plates. None in there at a minute, but they just drop in and stay in position there. And then underneath here we have got just more storage, basically. So that's like that. And that's like that. There we go. That is through to the heads. There's just the one heads on this boat, and it's en suite as well to the forward cabin. We'll take a look at that. Another thing to show you just quickly before we move on is underneath here, this is access to engineering areas. So that one is bilges, plumbing, seacocks, that sort of stuff. That's where you get to that from. Let's drop that one back again. There we go. Okay, let's head on forward. Oh, more storage up here. In fact, I'll tell you what else is up here. So you've got things like this, and then that one is your distribution panel. So that's giving you access to all the 12 volt and the 240 volt switches. There's a stereo in there, which is the original stereo the boat would have come with. In fact, that has also been upgraded because I saw a fusion unit somewhere. Let's have a look over here. Yeah, there we go. So that's got the new fusion on it. Very nice indeed. There we are. Got that one on my boat. That's a nice bit of kit, that is. And then over here, that's the 240 volt, in fact. So the other one was 12 volt, that's 240 volt. And that one finally is the central heating. It's got the Eberspacher central heating. And that's diesel fired, which is nice. And then little lights tucked away underneath here. And your main overhead lights, and there's a hatch there that opens as well. If we head on forward then, forward cabin. There we go. So this is the owner's cabin, and what we have in here, of course, is things like drawers underneath the bed. You can see there's 4 of those. We've got storage up around in places like this. It's all nicely finished again though, isn't it? And in fact, these headlinings look good in here. Sometimes with boats of this age, one of the things we tend to find is the headlining start to sag. This looks really good. AV equipment in here, hanging locker over on this side. Like so, and that one's just shelving, I think. There we go. That little chap down there is a central heating outlet, and we've got the 240 volt plug points in here as well. And little portholes. You see, this is the thing that dates boats of this era. Now they've all got these big windows in. Back in the late 90s, you had the portholes. But you know what? That's fine. It's not a big sacrifice, is it? And we do have the big overhead hatch here, and that, of course, is opening, so it's a route out as well. The ensuite then is in here. I like the fact it's been fitted with these carbon fibre style door handles. They're rather smart. And there we go. So that's the other door in from the saloon area to make this into a day heads, so you don't have to come into this cabin to use it. But again, it's nicely finished, isn't it? It's nice quality stuff in here. That's the thing with these. You get a decent quality boat like a Sunseeker, and even many years on, stuff is still looking good. That is a shower area that circles around here. So you can close it off for a shower, and the loo itself is in underneath there even. Tripping over my tongue. There we are. That's all right, isn't it? So back out into the saloon, that obviously is where we came in. That's the door that I mentioned back into that heads that we just looked at. And then back here is the mid cabin. Now I mentioned this seating area that wraps around here. What that does is it gives you this headroom. You can see it sweeping around here. So you've got decent headroom as you come in, and then it drops away when you're all the way in, because that is the floor of the cockpit. So where we walked through to come down the steps, that's floor level. But the floor drops away with it. So when you step down here, you don't have standing headroom in this part of it, but nonetheless, you do still get perfectly good headroom for sitting in here. So if you're sat on the bed like this, tucking yourself away with a good book, it's fine. And again, we've got the little portholes, as I say, rather than the big hull windows, but this is still a great space. Got the little reading lights, we've got the light switch by the bedside table there. That just pulls out as a little drawer. And when you get to here, well then you're back to standing headroom. So for coming in here and getting changed, you've got space to do it. There's a TV in here, we've got a little sink in here as well, somewhere to clean your teeth. A little bit of storage underneath there, and then again more drawers down in places like this, and a hanging locker in here. There we go. That is a perfectly usable cabin, isn't it? I mean, yes, we're on a 40-foot sports cruiser, it's going to be a little bit compromised, but as these cabins go, that's a good one. Brilliant, brilliant for kids, but perfectly usable for a couple of adults as well. No problem at all. And again, these linings, they all look good. Check it out. Fantastic. Okay, we need to have a look around the decks, and we need to have a look at the engines. Well, I want to show you this. This has still got the original Sunseeker owner's manual for the boat, which you kind of hope it would, but they don't always. There we go, Sunseeker owner's manual, and we are on a Portofino 400. So this is, well, it's the book of words basically. It's how everything works. And then there's also instructions in there for other bits of kit that have been fitted. So that all obviously comes with it. There we go. That would have been for the original shipmate VHF radio. As I say, that's been upgraded to the Ray Marine that's on there. Fantastic. Let's go and have a wander around the outside, and we'll check out those engines. There we go. Did I mention bow and stern thrusters? I think I did, but that's the little controllers for them there. Again, that wouldn't have been original, that would have been added. Didn't we do stern thrusters back in those days? Did bow thrusters. That's a nice space, isn't it? And of course, with all these covers off, that'd be fantastic in the summer. Let's go and take a wander around the outside. That's where the shore power goes into. These switches here are for the cockpit lights and for the underwater lights. Good. I think with the cover on, it's obviously much easier to access these with the covers off. But what we'll do is take a wander around the outside and step on here, like so, and head on round. There we go. That is a sleek looking machine actually, isn't it? Let's come right up forward. You can put sunbathing cushions on here. That's what these tracks are for, to secure those, and you've even got little cup holder locations there. That is the hatch that's over the owner's cabin forward, and I mentioned there's a hatch over the saloon. That one is actually back here, so you can have that open even if it's raining because it's underneath the windscreen, and that's a ventilator that's over the heads. I love these Sunseeker cleats. These are very much of the era. Fantastic. And then these little chaps here are the up and down buttons for the electric winch, and then the anchor chain locker, that's down in here. There we go. Superb. Let's come right up to the bow and take a look back. That's a great looking boat, isn't it? Right, let's head on back. We've got radar up on the top. We've got the antenna for the VHF and for the stereo. That little flying saucer is the TV antenna, and the little mushroom next to it between that and the radar is the GPS antenna. Love this windscreen. Fantastic. Good. Let's go and look at the engines. So I'll say normally you would step back here and then into the cockpit, but because we've got this side canopy on, we're not being able to do that very easily. So I'll come back and hop back off the side. Of course, boats were lower in those days, so it's not actually difficult to get on and off, whereas modern boats, of course, they're much higher to get more space into them. There she is. Let's look at the engines. Like these teak decks. Oh, another thing I didn't show you is boarding ladder in underneath there. There we are. Very good. And this is nav lights here, so they're there, and you'll see them on the side just there as well. Right, engine access. Now the only thing I haven't been able to find is the switch for the engine room lights. It does seem to have them, but I can't find them. However, I think once we're down and in, we'll be able to see enough to show you all that needs to be seen. Right, let's disappear down this gap. There we go. I will reverse myself into the corner and show you what we've got down here. So this is a pair of Volvo Penta KAD 42 engines. They are 230 horsepower each. They're straight six, supercharged and turbocharged. The idea of that is the supercharger gives you the grunt up onto the plane until the revs are high enough for the turbocharger to take over and give you the speed. So you get good acceleration and good top speed. I think they're a 3.6 litre if my memory serves me correctly. What I don't have, I should have checked, is performance figures, but I'm going to guess that it's got to be 30 plus knots with these engines, I would say. I mean, check with a broker, of course, and he'll be able to tell you, but I'm going to say low 30s, flat out, cruising 20 to 25, something like that. And then range on this sort of boat, you're normally looking at sort of 200, 250 miles, something of that order. That's pretty typical. But yeah, there they are. We've got battery boxes down here, all nicely enclosing the batteries. There's a fire system down here. That's an automatic fire system, so there's a problem that will go off automatically. That there is an engine room light, but as I say, I'm sure once you know where the switch is for that, it becomes obvious, but I don't. And that little chap over there is a generator. So that's what's giving you 240 volt power when you're not plugged into the marina. And then these fellows over here are the control boxes. I mentioned it's got the electronic controls, so what they do is take the signals from the throttles and then convert them into the cable controls that the engine uses to shift in and out of gear and to operate the throttle. So what you get is electronic controls to use, and what the engine gets is cable controls activating it all. More battery boxes over there. You can see the engine batteries are in that one. But yeah, there we go. That's the engine space. It's not bad once you get down here. It's a small hatch to get down through, but once you're in, it's all very get-atable. This is nice. They put a little permanent heater in here so that in the winter, again, you can keep a little bit of warmth in here and just keep it nice. That is fantastic, isn't it? Good. I think we have fairly comprehensively done that one. Let me just reappear back out of there. There we go. We will drop that one back down. And I am going to take a seat at the helm. There we are, and I'm going to say massive thanks to Global Yacht Brokers. They've organised this tour and they've got this for sale. So I'll put a link to those guys in the description, and a massive thanks as ever to you for watching. But that is something rather different to what we usually do. I wanted to show you a boat that's a bit more affordable, and here it is. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll catch you on one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.